Okay, today we will be installing a trailer hitch on a 2025 Mazda CX5. Warning, a 2025 Mazda CX5 has a towing capacity of 2,000 pounds. However, in this video, I am installing a Class 3 trailer hitch that has a higher capacity. Always follow the vehicle manufacturer's towing capacity. So this is a CURT 13315 Class 3 trailer hitch assembly for a Mazda CX5. Class 3 has a higher towing capacity than what the vehicle is capable of. However, the reason why I chose the Class 3 because it has a larger 2-inch receiver. You can tow a trailer, but you can also install a bike rack, or you can install one of those cargo platforms. Just gives you a little bit more versatility, a bit stronger, more robust frame. The kit comes with everything you see here, the nuts and bolts and washers. Comes with instructions and some pictures. I do not have a torque wrench that goes up high enough to torque the bolts, so I'm going to use some blue Loctite on all of my fasteners and then add an extension on to my wrench to give me more leverage to make sure I get all my hardware nice and tight. And I'm going to use that ratcheting strap to strap up and support the exhaust pipe. And I've already pre-coated all of my hardware with the blue thread lock. This is not a paid promotion for any product you see on this video. I'm going to back the vehicle up on these vehicle ramps. I highly recommend these. Gives you more working room for this project. Also put cardboard down so you have something clean and soft to lay on. And I taped these washers to the inside of the frame on the hitch assembly. And then I installed these fish wires to these carriage bolts ahead of time. And they use a ratchet strap to ratchet strap up and support the exhaust pipe, like so. So we can remove the muffler. There's 2 nuts you got to unscrew there, and 4 rubber hangers that you have to remove. That's what the rubber hangers look like. And you want to spray them with some liquid dish soap and water mixture. Makes it easier to get them to pull off. You can use a pry bar to pry them off, but honestly I found just grabbing them with my hand and pulling them off works best. It's easy. And that's what they look like. I will leave them on the hangers on the vehicle to ease the installation of the muffler when you go to reinstall the muffler towards the end of this job. And I'm using my knee to help support one side of the muffler while I take those rubber hangers off the other side. Now with all the rubber hangers off, I'll undo those 2 nuts. And we can go ahead and remove the muffler out of the way. You can see the exhaust pipe is supported. It's not dangling down. I'm going to remove these little plastic, like little snap-in fasteners to remove this little plastic piece. Otherwise, this plastic piece would interfere with the hitch. That's what those fasteners look like. They're reusable. And I'm scraping off the tape from the factory on both sides of the frame. You need to scrape that tape off of where they cover the mounting holes. And then you also need to pry off this little plastic fastener here that holds the wiring harness to the frame, because right now that's in the way of where the frame goes for the hitch. So again, there's the mounting holes, there and there. And it's the same on each side. We got to peel that tape off of each side and then loosen that wiring harness up on both sides. And then here's the fish wire that comes with the kit. You fish it up through the big hole here in the bottom of the frame on both sides. And again, make sure you put that metal washer in place first. And then you want to fish the whole assembly up through this hole, like so. And when you get the hitch frame in place, it'll bolt to it like that with a nut. So I started the bolt on one side, swung the hitch frame up, bolted the other side. These are the regular hex bolts that go into the weld nuts on the frame. I'm taking out these plastic fasteners. And again, make sure you get that fish wire going through the frame. Now I will swing the hitch up and work the carriage bolts through the frame on the hitch. You can see how removing those plastic fasteners gave me more wiggle room with the rear bumper to swing the hitch into place. You pull it through like so. You can see I got the hitch frame in place now. I just hinged it up or swung it up into place. And then you pull those carriage bolts through. Pull out the fish wire. Install your flange nut. Again on both sides. Tighten down your hardware on both sides. And you can see how I have the play in that wiring harness. Ideally, you want to use a torque wrench here to torque these down, but it's hard to get up in there with a torque wrench, and my torque wrench does not go up high enough. That's why I put the blue Loctite on all the fasteners. And I'm going to double up on my wrench. So I'm going to take a second wrench and put it on my first wrench. And you can see that gives me more leverage to get those nuts and bolts nice and tight. I want to say it's like a 19 millimeter bolts, the bolts and nuts. This job would be a lot easier and faster if you had a second person helping you. Doing it by myself, it did take a little while, a couple hours from start to finish. And again, we want to zip tie up and secure the wiring harness on both sides so it's not flopping around. You can see how having the muffler out of the way gives you a lot of working space. And you can see the orange strap supporting the exhaust pipe there in the lower right corner of the screen. I'm just reinstalling those little plastic fasteners. This little piece really can't go back in any which way because the frame of the hitch is in the way. So I'm going to leave it off, but I'll reinstall those little fasteners. Now we can put the muffler back on. I'm going to start by sliding those bolts into the holes, hand tighten the nuts, and use my knee to support it. And just simply slide those rubber hangers back on. And again, lubricate them with some soapy water solution. There we go. We'll go ahead and tighten these lock nuts down. That secures the exhaust pipe and the muffler together. I'm going to release the orange strap. There we go. Job complete. There's the finished product. I hope this information helps you. Here's what it looks like with the 2-inch ball installed. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.